for joining us. This is Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. I'm Brooke Allen. We are presented by Alloy Rochester. And of course, we are not in a coffee shop today. We are at Royal Oak Bamboo. It's a co-working space, which is an amazing, amazing space. If you can tell, lots of offices here. So that is where we are. We are right on Main Street. And of course, we are 12 episodes in. This is our 12th episode today. Super excited about that. And of course, this show is where we brew up topics from a woman's point of view. So let me tell you what's coming up on the show. A double shot of our women in business. Super excited about that. We will talk co-working spaces, exactly where we are right now. And a brand new facility which is opening in Ferndale for new moms called Fourth Try Sanctuary. Also, we'll be talking about a grief support group for kids. That is through Henry Ford. And, you know, I don't know about you if you have a dog, but I have a dog. He's a little cranky and old, but we have the owner of Fluff and Tuff on for our Great Lakes Maid segment. So I'm excited about that, but my dog James is super excited about that as well. Well, this is usually our coffee of the day segment, but this week it is our office of the day. A lot of offices, actually, Amanda. And our first guest for our Women in Business segment is Amanda Lewin. And of course, you are the co-founder of Bamboo Royal Oak. And that's where we are. But you also have a location in Detroit and also soon to be Ann Arbor.
Yeah, we started in Detroit 10 years ago. We wanted to create a space for everyone to be a part of what was happening downtown, and have just grown since then. Bamboo provides flexible co-working and then really supportive creative communities. So a lot of entrepreneurs, innovators, startups all work here.
You know, I have quite a few friends that actually have offices here. And it's so funny because they do say, oh, you know what, actually going to work is fun because it is a community. I've been in here visiting and you've had meetings on the steps where our audience is right now.
Yeah, so. Yeah. And even, for example, Casey, who you're going to meet after me, who's opening Fourth Try, we have a partnership where our members get perks at her yoga studios. And so there's all these other business perks and supportive perks of being in the community.
So if somebody was looking for an office, obviously the pandemic kind of changed things, right? Everyone was working from home. We're kind of out of that now, but this is the ideal location for any kind of entrepreneur, really.
Yeah, we're right on Main Street, super accessible. Royal Oak is so convenient. Parking is right behind us. And, you know, with the change in hybrid work, people don't want to be at home all the time. They need a space for meetings. They need a space to get out once in a while. But maybe you don't need a space full time. Maybe you don't want to sign a 5-year lease, or you're a small business and you can't afford to build out space with construction costs. That's where co-working comes in. We have offices 1 to 10. We have dedicated desks. We have just really flexible memberships for everybody.
And you also have like day passes, right?
Yeah, you can walk right in and get a day pass or book a room. Yeah, it's super easy.
So if somebody was from out of town and they needed printing, I mean, you guys have all that here too, right?
Yeah, it's very like all-inclusive. Everything's taken care of for you.
And coffee is included as well.
Yes. We also have cold brew.
Okay. Oh, yes, that's right.
I don't know if you've tried yet.
I have not tried that. Is it? Well, I'm all about that. Okay, so you have a new location opening in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, tentative April.
Okay, so what is that space? Do they all look alike?
It's going to be very similar to this location. We're going to recreate this retail-like vibe. So we're right on a street corner at Washington and First. You can walk right in. You'll see people co-working. You'll see all the energy. We like to say it's going to be a little bougie because it has a rooftop event space.
Oh, that's
It has sliding garage door cafe space. Okay. So a lot of indoor-outdoor space that we haven't had yet. So we're very, very excited for that.
And people can actually rent out conference rooms. Yep. I mean, there's a lot of options besides office.
Yeah, we host team offsites, we host trainings, workshops, basically anything that you need a private space where we take care of all the facility needs and you can just show up and do your work.
So if somebody was interested, how do they reach out?
Yeah, just check us out online at bamboodetroit.com. We are doing private tours of Ann Arbor right now, which is opening soon. Okay. And something, I don't know if you know this, you can pick a location as your home base, and then you get access to all the locations through our app. So it's super easy. Maybe you live in Detroit, but you might have a meeting once a month in Ann Arbor, or you might be expanding your team there. So we make it very, very easy. You get to use all the locations included.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
And I think you even have a podcast studio at one location, don't you?
We do. In downtown Detroit, we have a nice recording podcast studio, something we're thinking about doing in all our locations, too.
Very cool. Okay, well, when it comes here, let me know.
Yeah.
Okay. So if people were interested in actually coming and taking a tour or renting an office or an independent desk,
yeah, you can come in Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and chat with our community team. We always have great team members at the front desk here to help. or you can just book a tour online through our website.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you so much for allowing us to be here.
Of
It is a
course.
beautiful facility. It's been so much fun just to see everything you offer. And I know, then I can wave to my friends all the way in the conference room. I think Jason's in there now. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no, my pleasure. Again, that is Amanda Lewin. She is the co-founder of Bamboo Royal Oak, of course, where we were last week and where we are this week. So again, thank you to Amanda for hosting us. We do appreciate it. But we do want to give a big caffeinated thank you to the businesses that are allowing us to stream on their Facebook pages, which is helping us so much. Our presenting sponsor, of course, Alloy Personal Training. We also have Time Warp Vintage, which is Jason's store, Jason and Steve, and Jason is always here with us. You can come in, talk to him, and say hello to him. Also, Frameable Faces, Artisan Bath and Soaps, My Michigan TV, who is bringing this broadcast to you live. And of course, you can find it on my Facebook page, which I know the name will shock you. It is Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. We are a woman-focused show, so we try to come up with topics that are really interesting and maybe unique to a woman. So if you do have any ideas, please, you can check us out on our website as well. You can actually send an email through that and give us show topics, maybe your favorite nonprofit, anything that's important to you, please let us know, and we will try to get to that as soon as possible. Well, one of our presenting sponsors is Alloy Personal Training, and they are a really unique fitness program. That is where you go in, you hold this stick, and then they tell you what your goal is and what your fitness level is. So let's pick up our travel mugs and hit the road, and let's watch. Hey, Brooke Allen here. I am at our presenting sponsors, Alloy Personal Training Rochester. Of course, I am hanging out with one of my favorite trainers, Trent. And Trent, of course, it is a new year, and that means a lot of New Year's resolutions. And
Yes.
What are you seeing mostly in here?
So big one, obviously, is, getting back into shape. Usually that means weight loss of some sort, and also just getting stronger and feeling better day to day.
And what's so important about Alloy is that you guys actually tailor the fitness plan to the individual.
Exactly. So another common goal that we get a lot is regaining the balance, especially with the slippery ice outside. So, one of the things that we do really well is doing core exercises with heavy weights in your hands and taking nice deliberate walks. Helps a lot with stability. So.
Okay, so how do people get in touch? And you have a special running this month.
Yes, so we're half off just for the month of January. If you mention, Brooke over here, you'll get half off your first month here at Alloy, which is about $16 per session. It's quite a steal.
And that is quite the deal, and especially to keep those New Year's resolutions going. And it is pretty cold outside these days. So don't exercise outside. Come inside and work out at Alloy. How do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so best way to get in contact is to go onto the website, alloypersonaltraining.com, put in your zip code, and you'll find us.
All right, Trent, thanks, man. Here we go. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
And again, that was our trip to Alloy Personal Training in Rochester. And, only a few more days till you can get that special that Trent was mentioning, which is half off your first month of membership if you mention the show or if you mention my name. Well, we have so much fun, obviously, as you can see with our sponsorship partners. So if you're interested, again, you can check us out, send us a note through our website, Caffeinated Conversations with BrookeAllen.com. We are so excited that our show is growing, and of course you can help because you can follow us on Facebook. Also on Instagram, you can find me at Brooke Allen Official, and follow me and I'll follow you back, I promise. And to help us spread the word to connect women for more networking opportunities, because that's kind of really what this show is all about, not to mention the caffeine that's involved. Well, we always talk about the 3 trimesters in pregnancy, right?
Yes.
And there's a 4th trimester.
Correct.
Which people don't really ever talk about. In a new day retreat, which I think is safe to call it that, right?
Yes, it is a day retreat.
Okay, so Casey Muslieb is the founder of Citizen Yoga.
Yes.
And also this new sanctuary that you're opening. So first of all, let's start with Citizen Yoga.
Yes, so Citizen Yoga has 3 locations, Royal Oak, Detroit, and Bloomfield. We're a mission-based yoga studio, so our mission is suicide prevention and mental health. And when I had my first daughter, one of my co-founders for 4th Try approached me and was talking about sort of what's happening in the postpartum space and the mental health crisis. And so it sort of became this natural bridge of how am I a female entrepreneur trying to bring my new mom life into entrepreneurship that has a mission. And the mission is to support mental health, not just of women, but of all families and all birth parents and surrogate parents.
There's so much out there, right? And
Yes.
it's sometimes, I mean, honestly, sometimes we don't always acknowledge all the differences or even think about it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't think about it, you don't realize it.
Yeah, and you know, the response that we're getting from everyone is, I wish I had this
Yeah, that's what
when
I said
had
to you,
babies.
right?
And I think that we all wish we had this. And so this is not just for us having babies, but this is for our generations to come. It's for my daughter. And really, it's a day retreat where you can come. We have a nap room, we have a cafe, we have a share and relax space, we have a movement room, we have infant bathing stations. And what we're really trying to do is lessen the stress on the family unit that's bringing a new baby into the world, but not just for those first, 3 months, but beyond that, like the first full year of postpartum.
So somebody can become a member and they can stay for the first year.
Yeah, they can stay for the first year, and then we're going to have social events and wellness retreats and baby showers and day of wedding parties. So there's a lot of
fun going on there.
There's a lot of fun going on.
Well, I know I said to you, boy, I wish that existed when I had my twins, right? It was like just another person to hold a baby, right?
Yes.
You're like, hold the baby, please.
Yes.
Okay, so you have different packages, which were amazing. So tell me about these.
Yeah, so some of the packages, we really thought of it hourly based. So the minimum is 2 hours, and then we have an unlimited for $8.99 right now. But there are 10 plus like nurses, doulas taking care of your infant, but there are also all these, which we all know, these piecemealed experts that you don't know where to find them, how to find them, and they're all gonna be under our roof so that they're easily accessible to us. And the most exciting part is we accept HSA payments, we're hopefully gonna be on maternity, paternity leave benefits, and we're sort of working our way to make postpartum care normal. We're trying to make it more accessible to greater communities.
So as far as postpartum, some women may think, that you go back, right? The 6-week checkup, you go and the doctor has this list.
Yes.
And he's like, you're good, you're good, you're good, you're good. And then you walk out and you're like, kind of sad.
Correct.
I kind of don't know what's going on.
Right, and this is actually really important. We have experts on our team. So the Dr. Vilkin, she's head of gynecology at Henry Ford. We have, you can look on our website and look at all of our experts, and it's just getting more and more exciting. And postpartum really is not synonymous with postpartum depression. It really just references the period 0 to 12 months, and everybody goes through it. But people experience up and downs in their mood, and there's so many transitions that first year, and so it's not just right when you have a baby, and it's not just to talk about anxiety or depression, it's to talk about just overall support and how can we help you.
And the community, right?
And the community of it, because you really can't lessen anxiety without community, and that's what I learned through citizen yoga.
Okay, so these packages, the sanctuary set to open soon.
Monday.
Okay,
Next week. In a week
from today.
Yeah.
Okay, so if people want to find out more information, can they sign up online? Do they need to come in? What's going on?
So we're offering tours all week. It's really exciting.
Okay.
So you can sign up through our website. Our website is fourthtrysanctuary.com. You can follow us on Instagram. And I was mentioning to you, one of the coolest parts about it is we just got approved for a 501c3 arm, which means now we can start fundraising. It's going to be called Fourth Try Foundation, so we can affect all communities, because all communities are affected by this gap in our health system.
Definitely. And for someone who may struggle with not postpartum depression, but just maybe their family isn't close by.
Yes.
So it seems to me, because I lived in California for years, right? And when you're by yourself, you're kind of like, there's nobody here.
Yeah, to hold your baby.
To hold your baby.
Yes.
Right. So this is a place where you can find a little bit of respite and somebody to hold your baby. Maybe.
You can find a nap, you can find a shower, you can find a blowout, you can find some food, you can have some good coffee. We have our own coffee there.
Okay.
So yeah, it's going to be really, really important for all of us.
When people say, self-care is selfish, what do you say?
Well, first and foremost, we're actually running a lot of self-care wellness retreats, but you can't take care of somebody else if you're not feeling taken care of. And so the emphasis often when you have a new baby is, how do we take care of the baby, which is true. There's so much education. The learning curve is so steep. Right. But you can't take care of a baby if you're not sleeping, if you're not getting lactation support, if you aren't fundamentally feeling good inside yourself. And so that's really what this space is for. It's for parents, both parents, but primarily the person who is the primary caretaker of that infant.
Okay.
And you need it.
And you do. right?
Even a shower.
Yeah.
Shower is wellness. So,
it is, right?
Yes.
So much is wellness that people don't get.
Yes.
Or you don't think about until you actually are in that spot.
Yes, and it'll be very simple, but very impactful. We know it.
All right, a week from today, we're super excited.
Right off of Woodward.
Okay.
And we have our own parking lot. That was very important.
Key.
It's free.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a free parking lot.
Yes.
Open what time do you open next week?
In the morning, but
Okay.
it'll be for members, so you'd have to buy a package in order to come in, and then you can book a tour, because we do, it's going to be like, you know, you're very vulnerable.
Yeah.
And there'll be some nursing parents who choose to nurse, and those who bottle feed are choosing to bottle feed, but, you know, it's not open to the public when our members are on site, only in the evenings and weekends.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, good luck with that. I
Thank
can't
you
wait.
so
You know, I've
much.
been hearing great things, and we'll be thinking about you next Monday.
I appreciate
All right?
that. Yeah.
Okay, thank
you,
you.
Brooke.
Again, that is Casey Muslieb, the founder of Citizens Yoga, and also soon to be, what's it called?
Fourth Tri Sanctuary.
Okay, thanks.
Excellent.
All right, thank you. And of course, we are so excited to be able to highlight these new things that are happening in the community, and not just like new building, it's a new concept.
It doesn't exist in our country currently.
So so I'm so privileged and honored to be able to do that. So again, thank you, Casey, for joining us. You are watching Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. Thank you for being with us. The Oxford High School shooter, Ethan Crumbley, was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, but his parents are standing trial as well. We were fortunate enough to have the Oakland County prosecutor, Karen McDonald, on the show back in December, and she joins us and she says that these tragedies are preventable and that you can make a difference. Let's watch.
The number one cause of death for children before gun violence just a few years ago was automobile accidents. And we didn't solve that with just focusing on one small part, regulating a car or who can drive a car. We did those things, but we also educated the public. You can't get in your car with a child, even a small child, without buckling up, because we've taught them that's what you should do. We've taught the general public you shouldn't text and drive. We have laws about who can drive and how to drive, and instead of focusing on all of these things that we can do to prevent gun violence and having somebody be in that state of crisis where they actually have their hand on the gun, all we've managed to do is teach kids to run, hide, and fight and argue about guns. And I just, you know, after this happened in Oxford and everything else that was going on, where we're really on the front lines of gun violence, I just started trying to educate myself as much as possible and getting in touch with experts. And so we're looking at this in, you know, way upstream, and how do we teach kids and human beings to be tolerant to adversity, which we know that they will encounter. The data on social emotional curriculum and learning is really strong. Teaching people how to recognize when someone's in crisis and then giving them tools about what to do. Right now, people they don't know what to do. They call the police, which is not the answer. That's not what our law enforcement is set up for. So we have protocols coming out on those sorts of things you want to see in your schools, you want to see in your workplaces, and then also you know, protocols on evidence-based threat assessments that organizations and schools and employers can adopt with really not very big lifts. So
Right, and it seems like everyone wants to fix the problem, but you just mentioned the heavy lifts, and sometimes it feels like people don't really want to do that.
Right. Well, you know, after this happened and still today, I get approached almost 3 to 4 times a week when I'm out in the public, and I have a lot of moms say, how can I protect my kid? What can I do? Should I buy a bulletproof backpack? And I just feel that as a public servant, I owe them an answer. And we keep thinking this is so big. You know, I can't change the law, or, you know, I can't, it's a mental health crisis. But those are really just, those are excuses, and we need to teach people that there's actually a lot we can do as an ordinary person to protect ourselves and our kids from gun violence.
So as a mom, you have 5 kids.
I do.
Right? And you know, the whole idea of when these happen, and I know Uvalde for me, because my kids were the same age when that happened in Texas. And it shook me to my core, just thinking, what do I, you know, how can I help them? Like what you just mentioned, you know, how do I protect them from this?
Yes, that was the first active shooting situation in a school after Oxford. And so experiencing that actually actually was one of the pivotal moments where I decided I was just going to start this commission, because I looked around so much, and there are commissions and task force started after these incidents, but only, very narrowly tailored to school incidents, or that has some more to do with the assessment of how the response was. But the majority of gun violence killing kids in this country is not happening at school, it's suicide. And even the majority of targeted violence, which is what a school shooting is, most of those do not take place in schools. They take place, you're far more danger in the workplace. So just these things that people just don't know because we haven't taken the time to educate.
So when you, when you look back on these last couple of years and you say people come up to you weekly, mentioning something, what is your first thought of, here we go again, or are you, are they coming up to you, are they angry, or what are they saying to you?
No, I think they're afraid, and my first thought is, I am too. And instead of being afraid and hiding away or trying to limit your experiences with the world, I choose to do something. And my message is, you can do something too.
And of course, we continue to remember and honor those 4 students who were killed: Madison Baldwin, Tate Moore, Hannah St. Juliana, and Justin Schilling. You can see the full interview, my full interview with Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald at mymichigantv.com. Well, the grief never ends, honestly, and it can sneak up on you no matter your age. And Henry Ford Sandcastles offers grief support to children and families who have experienced the death of a loved one. Leah Bengal is the clinical coordinator for the Sandcastles program. And Leah, we were talking before the show that grief, is tough at any age.
Yes.
But it is different, a little bit different for kids and how they process this, and you guys actually address that through Sandcastles.
Yeah, so Henry Ford Sandcastles is a grief support program for children and their families. We serve ages 3 to 18 for those, anyone in the community who has experienced a death in their life. So it could be they've lost a parent, sibling, grandparent, aunt, uncle, you name it. They come to our grief support program that is at no cost to families, as we know that sometimes when a primary caregiver dies, that cost can really be a big thing, if financial on a family's life. And so we offer these programs free of charge to families to be able to get that peer support and know that they're not alone on this grief journey.
And there's so many different elements that go into it, but for kids, their self-esteem, their confidence, there's that fear factor, depending on who they've lost, right? As it's like, are they coming home again? What's happening? So you guys address pretty much all of that.
Yeah, so we focus on a lot of things while in groups. So the kids are in groups, age-appropriate groups, and so they're in these, individual groups with kids who are their age, who have also lost somebody to a death, and we focus on coping skills to be able to cope through their grief, be able to memorialize their person, and more importantly, that they're able to see that there's other kids their age who really get it.
And that is such an important thing, because you always think, of course, even as adults, we think, this is happening to no one but me at this moment, right? But then these kids see these other kids, yes, and then they start talking, and it just opens up a whole different world for them.
Yes, absolutely. And so just seeing the transformations in our groups, as well as we do host a weekend camp, just seeing that transformation, they come in nervous, maybe not wanting to talk, and then seeing that they're in a room with other kids who just get it, who are going through, similar experience that they are, and they know that they're not alone in this journey, and that, unfortunately this very, terrible thing has happened, but we are able to see that we're not alone, and giving them the skills to be able to work through that grief, because as you said, it doesn't just end at like a month or a year. Right. It's going to be a lifetime thing that they're going to be able to work through.
So the one thing that is so interesting, and I experienced this with my daughter, when her dad was killed when she was 11, and school was a huge issue, because it was kind of like, I didn't want her to go to school. She didn't want to go to school. I don't think her teachers wanted her to go to school, honestly, because it was just such a tough time. And that is something that you guys also address. It's super important.
Yeah, so we do, offer trainings throughout the community. And something that we did just do a little podcast on was the Children's Bereavement School Plan through the National Alliance of Children's Grief. So there's this plan that was created for schools to be able to implement, and it just kind of talks about how to support that child coming back after they've experienced the death of a loved one. I can also touch on that. My mom died when I was 12, and so I was just starting middle school, which is horrible to begin with. And then going into middle school, my dad and aunt really had to advocate for, what my needs were. Thankfully, I had a very, very, very good counselor who was very supportive of me, but I did find that some of my teachers did not know, how to, support me in that time, and that's okay. But we, need to become a more grief-informed world of how to educate and continue to support those kids, because, they're going to keep coming to school after a death, and how do we really support them?
So often, too, you hear, oh, and I hate to say this, but I know we've probably both heard it, just get over it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Just get over it that your dad or your mom has died, and just go on.
Yeah.
And you can't do that.
No.
So for kids who may need support, do teachers ever reach out to you, or schools saying, listen, this kid needs help, and the parents or who, don't seem willing to do it?
Absolutely, yeah. We get calls from, teachers. I can just think of one that I had recently of a teacher calling saying, the dad just died, I don't know how to support this kid, and kind of walking them through it, giving them resources, and then, referring the mom to our program so that she's able to bring her son to our program in the evenings. We have different sites throughout the Metro Detroit area running throughout, different nights of the week, but they meet, typically bi-weekly, and so they're able to get that additional support in addition to the school supporting them, which is important.
And that's amazing that a teacher reaches out and says, I don't know how to do this, help me.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you guys have 7 locations, and then you mentioned a camp.
Yes.
So tell me about that.
Yes, so our weekend camp is at Camp Tamarack, and basically the kids, come on a Friday, and they are divided into groups, and they spend the weekend with kids that they've probably never met before.
Okay.
And our volunteers, which are the heart of our organization, they help facilitate our groups. They give up a weekend of their time and just dedicate, running the groups, doing different activities with the kids.
Lots of crafts, right?
Yeah, crafts, group discussions. We also do really fun things like swimming and rock climbing and stuff like that. So it's not just all grief activities, right? We are doing, different activities where they can just be a kid for a weekend, but also, learning how to memorialize their person as well. And it also gives the parent or guardian a break as well. So yes, we are at Camp Tamarack, and this year our camp is a little bit shifted. We're actually doing a Sunday to a Tuesday this year, but we are super excited.
Do you still have spots open?
Oh yeah, well we just announced.
Oh, you just announced, okay.
Yes.
All right, awesome.
So, yeah, we definitely have spots open. What a parent or guardian would do is give us a call, and we would do intake over the phone with them. It's about a 45-minute call with me or one of my coworkers.
Say hi, Leah.
Yeah. Hi, saw you. Yeah. So they would just do the phone call with me. We talk about who the person is that died in their life and how the kids are coping, and also talk about ways for the parent or guardian to support them. As we know, no one gives you a handbook for raising a child, let alone a grieving child. Right. So talking about different ways to support them, and there's some paperwork involved, but essentially, once the kids are enrolled, in our program or in camp, then they start coming, and there's no kick out date, we'll call it. We, have families that maybe they come for 6 months, maybe they come for a year, maybe a little longer. It's really based on, what you need, and we want to support, everyone's grief journey.
So can families, you just mentioned the 6 months or a year, but what if they think they're okay, and then can they come back?
Yes. So, talking about my family, we attended Sandcastles in 2009 when my mom died. Me and my dad and my sister went, And so we attended for a couple years at St. Clair Shores, and then me and my sister went to camp for a couple years. But we do have families that maybe take a break and come back. Maybe there was another death in their life. That happens too. So really it's based on like what the family needs are and, you know, how they feel that they're doing, and whatever support that they need, that at that time we're happy to support them, you know, through their grief journey.
So the one thing that I realized through our journey, right, was that people didn't know what to say. Mm-hmm. And so I've always said, just say something.
Yes, yes. And so I know the typical thing is, I'm sorry. And yes. That's, you know, I just went to a funeral yesterday and I avoided saying that because I'm like, I don't like being told I'm sorry, because right. I'm like, thank you.
Right. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, bye.
Yeah.
Right. But the whole idea that people, you know, don't know what to say, so they
yes.
stay away.
Yes.
And they need to know that they
yes.
they can talk about it.
Absolutely. I love it when people, you know, say, oh my gosh, I love, you know, when your mom did this, or I just remember this time. And of course it brings a tear to my eye because I love and miss my mom every day. And I'm in this, you know, journey that I am because I want to remember her and make her legacy known. But at the same time, you know, I still love hearing stories about her, you know, learning about when she was younger, stuff like that. So those are really, you know, important to me, or just saying, you know, I'm here for you if you need anything. Just saying something, like you said, don't ignore it.
Don't ignore it. And then, you know, the stages of grief, a lot of times people say, oh, well, you're in the angry phase. Now you're in the, you know, and there's 5, I
yes.
think, right? So 5, you know, and it's like, okay, well, you can always go back to the other one.
Yes.
And people need to understand that too.
I think what people think is like, oh yeah, you have the 5 stages and it's just supposed to be right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right. Check it off.
Well, we know if you are a griever, it is like this roller coaster. It's, you know, you might be, you know, okay one day, really sad the next, accepting whatever it is. It's never going to end. That, you know, roller coaster, it keeps going. And that, you know, we, you know, even as an adult, learning to work with those emotions, but just knowing it's okay to feel those emotions. You know, we tell the kids, you're allowed to have these big feelings, but how are we going to cope with them? Because obviously there's appropriate and not appropriate ways to coping with them. So I'm just thinking of an activity we did the other night where we had the kids write, you know, a big feeling that they've had in their grief journey, put that piece of paper into a punching balloon, and they were punching out those feelings. So there's many different ways to get out that, you know, those big feelings, but, you know, how are we going to cope with them?
So are those support groups, they go on all year round?
Yeah, so you're looking at a time from, like, we do school year, like, so September to like July. We currently, prior to the pandemic, did have 7 different sites throughout the Metro Detroit area. Now we're at 4 due to we are still getting back into our sites post-pandemic, and also we are in desperate need of volunteers to run our groups.
Okay, so
yes,
what do you need? What is a volunteer? They need to be certified, or what?
Yeah, so we offer free training. It's a 9-hour training, and it's not 9 hours at a time. Let me clarify, because we're like, oh, that's not fun. Right. But it's a 9-hour training divided into 3 nights. That's done by my wonderful manager, Peggy, and my coworker, Kaylee. And they talk about, you know, how to support a grieving child and how to run these grief support groups. So, of course, we have staff there, you know, as support to making sure everything's going accordingly, of course, and they're the ones organizing everything, making sure families are getting there at time. We offer pizza dinner, so we got to order pizza, of course. And so they are really the heart and soul of our group. So they help facilitate those groups. So yes, they do a training, and some people just do our like ongoing program, and some people just do camp, and sometimes they do both. But even if we can't have, even if they can't do, you know, the groups or camp, we have volunteers do, you know, different things. Like maybe they're part of our fundraising committee, or maybe they help make blankets for camp or cut out different things for programs. So there's many different ways to support grieving children. And in fact, you know, we always welcome donations, as we are a division of Henry Ford Hospice, but we are based off donations and grants from the community. So we are really based on the heart and soul of the community that, you know, want to help grieving children, which is wonderful.
Okay, so if somebody wants to volunteer, do they just call you?
Sure, they can call me directly.
Call Leah. Yeah. Everybody call Leah. I'm calling Leah.
They would just call our main line, or on our website on the tab volunteer, there's a application information at the end of the page. And so from there, my lovely coworker Linda would contact them to kind of get them started. And you have to realize I work with 7 coworkers, so we're a very, very small organization. So when I'm mentioning all these people, I work very, very close with them.
You're going to pick up the phone now.
Yes.
that is wonderful.
Yes.
Well, you know what? The program, the kids need it, the families need it as a whole, I think.
Absolutely.
Right.
And we have volunteers that maybe they have experienced the death of somebody and they want to give back to kids who are grieving, or also maybe they just have a heart for kids, and we love that. We just rave over our volunteers and are just so grateful for them, and know that the work for grieving children is going to continue,
and
we need to keep these programs going to support them. Kids like me, we need them.
Exactly. Real quick, the camp.
Yes.
Are there scholarships for that, or?
It's actually free of charge. So we, like I said, we are based off of donations, and those donations do help pay for camp. So there's no cost coming to our camp program, anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Well, listen, thank you so much. Seriously, I go back all those years ago, and actually, I don't know if this will make sense, but wish I had grieved differently, because you have somebody watching you.
Yes.
Right. And you think, well, I'm going to hide my tears, and it will be great for her because she won't realize.
Yeah.
It was not.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think Sandcastles was a big benefit for my dad. You know, no one gives you a guide for raising 2 girls on your own, might I add.
Right.
And so he was able to learn, you know, how to support me and my sister, which I think is wonderful. He's a wonderful guy already, but it was great to have, you know, that support for him as well.
For sure. Well, listen, thank you. Seriously, I appreciate it. I appreciate Sandcastles, and it's just so important to acknowledge all those big feelings that you mentioned, right?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you. So again, that is Leah Bengal from Sandcastles of Henry Ford. So reach out to her, please, if you have a child who may need some help. Well, it is time. We feature a nonprofit every month here at Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen, and we call it our Caffeinated Kindness segment. And one of the things is this month, it is Kids Empowered on the Move. And for more on what they do, let's check in with Kimber and watch.
So the nonprofit's been around for 20 years, but what happened is during the pandemic, we pivoted and we started focusing on families in poverty and homelessness. I also happen to be the chair of the Oakland County Task Force on Poverty and Homelessness. So the more I was learning about the problem in our community and nationwide, I decided I wanted to try to help with the issues.
And you know, so often we're connected on Facebook, and so often I'll see you post something about a family in dire need, needing help, a hotel room or food, and the response you get is amazing. You know, people really jump in and help you, but of course, more help is always needed.
Yeah, so it's been really cool because pretty much we're funded pretty much by all private donations. We don't get any government funding, and we've spent over $150,000 just putting homeless families in hotels this year because we lack shelter beds. We lack programs for them to get help. So we deliver food, clothing, furniture, paperwork.
Pretty much everything, right?
Yeah, we're like DoorDash.
DoorDash for anything you need.
Yes.
So if there was one need that you're seeing out there that's bigger than anything, what is it?
Well, it is funding because homeless families literally have nowhere to go.
And you've been watching a video about this month's act of caffeinated kindness. Of course, as you heard Kimber say, the needs include food, clothes, baby supplies. Maybe even if you are handy, you could volunteer your time to fix a window or whatever those families may need. You can find all that information at Caffeinated Conversations with BrookeAllen.com. And of course, you are watching Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. This is a woman-focused podcast. We are live every Monday, except for holidays sometimes. But we are at Royal Oak Bamboo, right on Main Street. Beautiful location, co-working space, and it has been just a pleasure to be here. So we're really thankful to Amanda for allowing us to be here as well. And of course, not only are we a video podcast, you can also find us on Apple and Spotify. And you may even want to leave a review, especially if it's a good one. We'd appreciate that. Thank you. Well, this next segment I'm super excited about because it is our Great Lakes Made segment with the founder of Fluff and Tuff. That's just so fun to say.
Thank you.
Ellen Lawson is the founder, right? And okay, first of all, tell me about the name, Fluff and Tuff.
It came, I will say it came out of nowhere.
Really?
It came out, I had 4 dogs, and they loved toys, and they loved like fluffy toys, but I couldn't find something that was right for them. Wanted something a little bit tougher, but still something fluffy, so it just kind of rolled off from there.
Okay, so when did you start?
It's 13 years ago.
Okay, 13 years ago. And then this was kind of like a transition for you, right? As far as
I was 40 when I started it.
Okay.
And so I will say I was looking for something to do and kind of a change in life and everything. And I was just in the right place at the right time and knew some friends in the children's plush toy business. And I thought there's got to be a better way. And one thing led to another.
Well, so we were at Premier Pet Supplies, right? And we turn around and he's like, "Oh, this is all Michigan made," and Fluff and Tuff, right?
Well, we're a Michigan-owned company.
Michigan-owned company.
Yes.
Okay, so I mean, you've got these cool toys. I think you have a sloth.
I do.
Right? I love the sloth. I'll say I love the sloth. My dog, you know. But I mean, they're just fun toys and they're durable.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And you also have these like winter coats.
We do,
right?
We do, yes,
okay, so
yes. Whereas I will say our toys are not indestructible. It's as good as you can make a plush toy.
Okay, all right.
For a dog that loves plush toys.
Okay, so as far as like the clothing line and stuff like that.
That's something we're just starting, so that might be somebody else's.
Oh,
so yes.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
All good.
Okay, so you also do charitable initiatives.
I do.
Right, and that's important to you.
That's very near and dear to my heart, yes. It's my own business, so I kind of run it like I would run my own life. Okay. And there's just so much need out there for dogs and for, toys for them, so we do as much as we can.
You know, and it's funny too, because sometimes people are like, that dog doesn't need a toy. He's not even moving today.
Oh,
right?
No.
And but they do. They need interaction.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And they just want to be, whether it's, your own dog or a rescue dog, just something to play with and have fun and have a little break from sleeping.
Exactly. Yeah, my dog's kind of a sloth. Yeah. So I want to ask you about this whole career change that you did.
Yeah.
So you were 40 and you took the chance.
Yeah.
And how did that feel for you at the time?
It was challenging. It was very challenging, but I felt like I didn't feel like I was 40, first of all. I felt like I was much younger. And I just wanted a different challenge in life. And so my now late husband and I started this, and I loved it every single second, learning something new and taking on a challenge of it. And I knew nothing about manufacturing. I knew nothing about wholesale, retail, anything. And you just kind of dive in, and it was great. I love it.
You just kind of have to just do it and don't look back, right?
And you don't look back, and you can figure things out. You figure it out. If you can't figure it out, you find someone that can help you figure it out.
Right. So, and that leads me to the whole collaboration viewpoint. So, collaboration seems to be like one of those keywords these days, right? Where people are like, "Oh, let's collab on that." But it really is important. So, what do you say? I mean, do you work with other people? And
so I have 10 employees.
Okay.
And when I will say when I started this, I was very much my business. I was a micromanager, and probably to a fault. And then a couple things happened. My husband became ill, and I had to take a step away from my office, and I let people do their job. And when I let them do their job, they did a great job. And so I think that really taught me how to evolve and not micromanage, more like work with people. And so it ended up being a very helpful thing.
So any new adventures coming up?
We're always trying to kind of evolve a little bit. We're trying to do a few different lines we're gonna dive into, just because it's something interesting and fun and new, and so we'll be in the next year or so. We'll have some new things.
Okay, so as we say in the broadcast industry, stay tuned,
exactly.
right?
Stay tuned.
Okay, so where can Fluff and Tuff be found?
We are at, we're across the country, but locally. Premier Pet, I love them. They're such a great group, great people. And then, so the Premier Pet, 3 Dog Bakeries, Pet Bistro. I'm trying to think of, I'm sure I'm going to forget somebody, and I'm going to apologize. But your local independent retailer.
Okay.
that's the independence is what we really focus on.
And your stuff is cute and it's tough.
It is.
It is, so thank you. I know James, my dog, is gonna be like, hey, what'd you bring me? I'll be like,
I have something for you.
I'll be like, I brought you a cup of coffee, a big cup of coffee. so no, seriously, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Well, not only do you need to refresh your dog's wardrobe maybe, but you do want to refresh your home sometimes, and you can do that with a retro flair, and that is all thanks to one of our sponsors who is in St. Clair Shores. Of course, I am talking about Time Warp Vintage, and so much cool stuff out there. You really want to go and check it out. You'll be amazed at what you can find. Let's watch. Brooke Allen here, host of Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. I am at one of our sponsors, Time Warp Vintage in St. Clair Shores. And, you know, I don't know about you, but I love to kind of redo my home decoration during the winter months because there's really nothing else to do. So how about coming here and checking out this 1950s spaghetti shade lamp? Check it out. 1, 2, 3. How cool is that? But this is not the only thing you'll find here. You'll also find a lot of entertaining items, and especially this very cool appetizer. If you're serving appetizers, look at how fancy this is. It's so awesome. Fancy toothpick. I love fancy toothpicks. So yes, so it's just a myriad of stuff you're going to be finding, of course, in bright colors. Love the yellow and orange, and just anything that you can imagine or anything that you could remember from your childhood. You will find it here at Time Warp Vintage in St. Clair Shores. And of course, thanks for coming along with us to Time Warp Vintage in St. Clair Shores. Say hello if you go in there to Jason and of course Steve and Jasmine. The whole crew is there. It's a cool store, vintage, retro, whatever you want. And they have I love yellow. They have a lot of yellow things, so I love that, as you just saw. Well, we are excited about this. This is our Curtains Up segment, and I may be a little biased about this one because my child is actually in the show. This is Joe Muno. He is the director of Ridgedale Players Miracle Worker in Troy. And Joe, this show is amazing. And I'm not just saying that because my daughter is in it, but I mean, I went and I thought, okay, you know, it's going to be a long show, and every moment was riveting, honestly.
Your daughter helps move it along, particularly in the first act. It's her first time acting.
It is her first time.
And she's lovely.
Well, thank you.
There'll be many more opportunities for her to perform.
Well, thank you.
This show is something that it's been around for a while. I'm sure people remember the movie with Patty Duke and Anne Bancroft that won all sorts of awards. And also when it was on Broadway, same cast, won the Tony. This is a show that tells about Helen Keller's transition from being blind and deaf and being brought into the world through language. And it's a timeless story, and every time it's on stage, it really engages the audience and brings them in to the point where they laugh, and then particularly at the end,
cry.
They cry.
They cry a lot. And so you have two girls playing Helen, which has been really interesting. I've seen the one. I'm going to see the next one on Friday. And you know, how was that to have two different actors? They're young too. I mean, how old are they?
11 and 12.
Yes.
When I first did this, I thought, in community theater, if an adult gets sick, you can just plug someone right in. But this is a very physically demanding role, and it's not as easy to do with kids. So it's best to have two just to hedge your bets.
Okay.
And they bring such wonderful life to the role every night. And every night I notice them doing something a little different. And they're playing the same part, but they have somewhat different interpretations. So it's a good thing that you're going to see both.
Yeah, it's just, so you have one more weekend, and you have actually had interpreters there.
Yes, thanks to a generous contribution from GFL Environmental's Full Circle project, their philanthropy program, we were able to hire American Sign Language interpreters for several of the performances, and they will be there at our closing performance on Sunday, February 4th at 2 p.m. And the audience has been very engaged, and we have had people from the deaf community who have come to the show, and they've been very appreciative because they're feeling involved, which we want to give that kind of accessibility.
Yeah, and so tickets still available?
Tickets are available. The best way to get them would to go on to the theater's website at ridgedaleplayers.com. And last weekend, people have had word of mouth from the previous 2 weekends, so best to get your tickets now, and most importantly, not to miss Daisy's theatrical debut.
Of course, of course. And Daisy's dad, actually, right? So Daisy's dad is in there too.
He plays a small role too.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you know, the one thing that you mentioned, the crying and the laughing and then the crying during the show, and I mean, it was almost embarrassing because at the end of the show, you're like, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. I sobbed. I mean, really, it's such a touching show. You did a great job.
Thank you. I told everybody at our first run through, if we get to the end of this and the audience isn't crying, then we've utterly failed. But we've succeeded.
Well, you have definitely succeeded, because everyone I know that has gone to see it has said, I cried so much. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess they did a good job then.
It's a compelling story.
It is very much. Well, you came on last minute. I appreciate it for you being here. And like I said, okay, my daughter's in the show, so I felt like I needed to do that, right? But no, it's a wonderful show, and I suggest anybody that is looking for something to do this weekend, check out Ridgedale Players in Troy. What road is it on?
Long Lake Road.
Long Lake Road. Yeah, so check that out. They've got a Friday, also a Saturday, and then the closing day is the Sunday matinee. Well, you are watching Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. We are presented by Alloy Personal Training in Rochester. And, you know, this is a show where we brew up women's topics, and we're so grateful that you've been hanging out with us this morning. Of course, you can see us every Monday at 10 a.m. And don't forget, if you go into Alloy Personal Training Rochester, they've got that deal going just for a few more days. You go in and you mention my name, Brooke Allen, in case you didn't know it by now, and you will get 50% off your first month of membership. So go in there, say hello to Trent, sign up, check it out. It really is a great program. I promise you, I'm not just saying this, you will definitely feel the burn. And they will design a fitness plan that is just for you. So again, that is at Alloy Personal Training in Rochester. Well, we do want to say a big thank you to everyone involved in this show. There are a lot of people behind the scenes, in front of the scenes. Of course, we are at Bamboo Royal Oak. Many thanks to Amanda for hosting us. Also to Dave Scott and his team. My Michigan TV, of course, is a free streaming app about all things Michigan. So who can beat that, right? And with that, I can't believe I forgot to say this at the beginning of the show, but you know what? The Lions didn't get the result they wanted last night, but what a great game it was, and what a great season. So I should say that because this is a Michigan-oriented show as well. Also, thanks to Jared in our control room. He runs all the cameras, so thank you, Jared. And huge thanks to Some Girls Boutique in Berkeley, of course. They dress me every week, and to my executive producer, Christina McDaniels. She keeps me in check and hands me all of my index cards and my clips that I'm just so crazy about. So thank you to Christina as well. Of course, you want to check out Caffeinated Conversations with BrookeAllen.com. If you have any show ideas, anything that you're talking about, trust me, we want to know it, because here we can talk about real topics, some fun topics, and some topics that may be upsetting or triggering, but I feel like it's all necessary. And that's all part of this show. So thank you so much for being with us. Of course, you can reach out anytime, and we promise we will answer you back. Give us a follow on Facebook. You can find me also at Instagram at Brooke Allen Official. Thank you so much. We will be back next Monday. New month, new location. Again, thank you so much for being with us. Have a great week, and keep the coffee hot.